This is the kind of question that's very dangerous on the SAT. People have all sorts of ways of solving percentages and almost none of them are right. We need a formula that's going to get this for us. So we're going to talk about the open formula in a second. But first, you might want to just think about the story and see if there are any answers that just don't make sense. If Hamad has 30% fewer pencils than Dory, Dory has more pencils. So when they ask us for Dory's number of pencils, it's impossible for it to be 245, right? That's fewer pencils than Hamad has. So that doesn't make any sense with the story. And sometimes, I see this all the time, people will pick that kind of thing because their math kind of leads them to that answer and they never bother to just think it through and double check to make sure that they actually went in the right direction. So please don't get stuff wrong for that. But the percentages are very tricky in and of themselves because there's an instinct here to take that 350 pencils that we know about and somehow take 30% of that and work with that. And that's not going to work. This is what the open formula is all about. It allows us to solve percentages no matter what we're given following the right order of operations. So what do we want to do? Well, we first want to think about the original amount. Well, that's Dory. Dory is the original amount. In fact, let's not even use X, let's use D just to be really, really clear. Dory is the original number of pencils. Now, because this is a percent change, we're going to use a different version of the P portion of our open formula. So 1 plus or minus P, and in this case, since it says fewer, it's going to be 1 minus the percentage. And this is the best part of the open formula. You do not need to re-engineer the story. You can just plug it in as it says into the equation, okay? So if they say fewer than, less than, you're gonna see a minus and it's gonna be 1 minus your percentage. You don't need to rethink it and be like, oh, but we're gonna add in a percentage. The formula is going to take care of that for you because the resulting amount, the new amount, is going to be Hamad's pencils, which is the 350. But for now, I'm going to put it as an H just so we can be very clear. The original number of pencils is Dory, right? Everything we know in this story is based off of Dory's pencils. So we don't understand Hamad until we have Dory, right? So Hamad is our new, Dory is our old, and we need to think of it in that order, otherwise we're going to get it wrong. Because even though they gave us that 350, that's kind of like the answer to our question. So in a way, they're kind of asking this in reverse. So we are going to have 0.7 as our percentage because it's going to look like that when we do 1 minus the 30%. And then we can put 350 here. And all of these questions will be on the calculator section. So now we can just divide both sides by 0.7. And we are going to get that D is equal to 500, okay? So that makes sense with the story, but it's also very different from the answers that we're going to get if we make careless mistakes here by trying to multiply our percentage, which is what we're just normally conditioned to do. We think of percentages as multiplication, but the SAT likes to reverse the question, ask it in a backwards way so that we end up dividing, and the open formula is our best friend for keeping track of the order in which we need to do things, okay? So try to use this formula so that way you don't fall for trap answers like choice C on questions that involve percentages.